Thomas à Kempis devotes an entire chapter to resisting temptation. He begins with these words: "So long as we live in this world, we cannot be without tribulation and temptation. As long as we live in this world, we shall be tempted," or to put it another way, tested. Jesus himself was tempted or tested. Temptation, therefore, is not a sin because Jesus never sinned. Therefore, the first thing is, don't be ashamed of temptation. It's a vital part of our training in righteousness. Thomas à Kempis goes on to say, "No man is so perfect and holy, but he hath sometimes temptations, and altogether without them we cannot be." They are tests, not sins. However, Thomas à Kempis goes on to say, "Be careful, watch in prayer, lest the devil find an advantage to deceive us." Temptations come from below and are to be avoided for that reason alone. The devil never means us good. But note the word deceive in what Thomas à Kempis said, because it cuts right to the heart of every single temptation. There is no temptation that doesn't involve some form of deception. For instance, a person is tempted to speak badly about somebody, to gossip. It's a common problem. He probably thinks that exposing somebody else's faults will make him look better. "Oh, I could never do that," he says. But he leaves the conversation with a troubled conscience. And furthermore, the person he was speaking to probably has a lower opinion of him and will be disinclined to become his close friend. The man was deceived. He stood to gain nothing by gossiping. He didn't feel better. He didn't look better. Yet he did it. Falling for temptation must be a form of madness, because the cost is so great and the returns so paltry. Yet we suddenly become unreasonable. We suspend thinking. A better example of the deception within all temptations is the very first one, Eve in the garden, Genesis chapter 3. She was promised deity if she ate of the forbidden fruit, promised a throne in heaven. Not only was this a lie, she even lost her paradise on earth and inherited pain for herself and every woman thereafter. Deception and madness. Jesus resisted temptation 100% because he wouldn't offend his Father, and also he knew the true nature of temptation was deception. He couldn't be fooled, unlike us. As with all destructive things, from woodworm to today's globalists, prevention at the beginning is better than cure later on. Temptations always begin with a thought. If allowed to develop, the thought becomes a plan, and then the plan becomes an act, which is a sin. The Roman poet Ovid said, "Withstand the beginnings, for an after remedy becomes too late often." That's true. When a country is invaded, paratroopers are sent in first to secure an airfield. Airfields are, therefore, closely guarded. The mind is our airfield. Amy Carmichael said, "We have the power to close the door of the mind." The thoughts will still come, but we are on our guard. Prevention is better than cure, you see. Even the Nazis knew that if they couldn't stop the Allies on the beaches of Normandy, it was a mere question of time before they lost the war. The Bible teaches, "Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour." 1 Peter 5:8. To be sober-minded is to be reasonable and level-headed. To be watchful is to be alert. It's when we're off guard that those paratroopers land in the airfield. Allowing them to land without resistance is the biggest mistake we make, because after that, the enemy grows stronger. Remember Eve, promised heaven, she even lost the earth. Falling for temptation is a form of madness. We see the casualties every day in the news. Lives thrown away, careers ruined, disgrace and shame. The image of somebody with a hood over their head entering a police station or courtroom gives the devil a thrill of satisfaction and should be a warning to all of us that the essence of all temptation is deception, lies. When you're being tempted, take a moment and identify the lie. Try to identify what is being offered and then imagine the possible consequences. Think carefully. If the person entering court in handcuffs had only thought it through, things could have been so different. Or the gossip who is today friendless. May the Lord help us to be sober-minded and shrewd in this dangerous world.